September 14th. Thanks for stopping by. Grab a coffee and let's talk a realistic utopia of a fair society. According to Rawls' original position thought experiment, we should ask ourselves how we would choose to reorganize our society if we did not know what our individual circumstances would be, if we want to know what a fair society would look like. In the language of our minds self-generating a model of a world that only exists for the individual who creates it, he asks us to go back to the point of the original negotiations. Yes, there's a social contract here going on about what data set to use as hypothesis in the individual word generation protocols of the participants of the negotiations when all they had to judge any agreement on was alive without an alignment of their reality with that of the others. The goal of any alignment is to enable cooperation and the establishment of common goals. I added yesterday that we must not lose sight of the reason why we are pursuing cooperation, to offset the high risk of random searches, the kind of searches that offer the highest payoff once conducted. This means any dataset for common use that does not enable all to a large degree of exploring for new experiences and knowledge will not be used by all without pressure put onto them, violence or the threat thereof. You want to eliminate violence while still enabling cooperation and the establishment of common goals? You better come up with a dataset that every member of society will accept to use in their personal word generation process. That means you better come up with a dataset that enables all to as large as possible degree of exploring for new experiences and knowledge, and to as small as possible degree of exploiting of existing knowledge. And this goes especially when the exploitation is done, the exploitation of existing knowledge for the benefit of a few. The reason is easy. We only live in the moments we mix truly new information with past experiences and hypotheses about the future. And we get this when we just generate our own model of this world by going around and searching for new experiences and knowledge. And everything that is less than that is something that the people will not accept, or if they get without being punished if they don't do it. Like the Catholic Church in the Middle Ages that told you you have a status, and every time you try to get above that, you are wrong, because that's the status God has given you and there is no other status for you. So the idea that life is only created in the moments where we add new, really truly new data or information to past experiences and future hypotheses, that goes back to the fact that all material things, what we are, in the end of all of it, we are humans, but we always have to remind ourselves that we are part of a physical universe, and as part of a physical universe, we are material things. So that all material things seek both their lowest energy state and to be in equilibrium with their surroundings. And that can only happen when we exchange information and energy with our surroundings constantly. We are only alive if we constantly take in energy and release other energy that is higher in their potential, like ultraviolet light, and release something that's lower in their potential, like infrared light, just as an example. Now, Rawls established two overarching principles of a fair society that arise from the original position: justice relating to freedom and equality. And then he added the principle of intergenerational justice and sustainability to them as a thing that goes on in both of them, basically. Taken together, these principles can be used to start a debate about concrete measures, concrete data that's meant to go into the dataset for common use, and what their best design should be so that all can agree to it. I mean to work my way here through all of those and add things wherever our understanding of how our mind works to create our models of the world leads to additional thoughts and things that need to be done or need to be considered. For now, let's take a look at Rawls' discussion of justice. Rawls divides the overarching principle of justice into two minor principles, if you want to, and these are his own words that will follow. 1. Each person has an equal claim to a fully adequate scheme of equal basic rights and liberties, which scheme is compatible with the same scheme for all, and in this scheme, the equal political liberties, and only those liberties, are to be guaranteed their fair value. 2. Social and economic inequalities are to satisfy two conditions. So if you want to be unequal, if you want to allow anything unequal, there are two conditions to do that. First, they are attached to positions and offices open to all under conditions of fair equality of opportunity. And second, they are to be to the greatest benefit of the least advantaged member of society, consistent with the just savings principle. That will be a really, really nice discussion about what does it mean that an inequality that is allowed has to be to the greatest benefit of the least advantaged member of society. And if it isn't, if it's only to the benefit of a few, it has to be thrown out, because then when this rule is added to the dataset, people will not use it. That's the thing. We are talking about something that goes on internally. A person must be willing to use these rules, these data sets, as the hypothesis to create their own model of a world in their head. And they have many choices to do it otherwise. So the things we agree on, we must all agree on. Because once just a few of the people stop doing it, the alignment of the models of the world stops, and the basis for cooperation and the establishment of common goals is gone. That's what they mean when they are talking about Earth 1 and Earth 2 right now. With all the people who just don't agree to what we call reality, even though we just use the same data set. And they use another. And the other one is indoctrinated to them. But they don't know because they think it is a better solution for them. Anyway, we get to this discussion. And I know these two minor principles to the principle of justice are a lot to take in. We go through them step by step, starting with the question, what Rawls considered to be truly basic liberties. That's tomorrow. Today I want to conclude through with some basic clarifications. The two principles of justice concern themselves with social justice. That means the justice of institutions and not the justice of individual actions. And they concern themselves with domestic justice. That means they are concerned with how we should organize the basic structures of society and its core institutions. They do not concern themselves with local justice. That is, how should the internal life of various associations that operate within the basic structures, for example, families, churches, support teams, and so on, be organized. And they do not concern themselves with global justice, that is, the justice between rather than within societies? Might the ideas be transferred to a bigger and smaller scale, especially once the self-generation of models of the world in humans' minds is taken into consideration? Maybe, but that's not the principle, what the principles should be judged against. So, on first glance, what comes to your mind after hearing just Rawls' 2 principles of justice? Any ideas on truly basic liberties a person in the original position would require so that they can agree to use them in their word generation protocol? What would you, as the person in the original position, require in terms of truly basic liberties? Tell me. For now, we will see again, if you want to, tonight, when I do a TikTok live where I cook dinner and talk social justice, or not social justice, yes, will be a fair society. Some food for the belly and for the head. Or we see you again tomorrow. Until then, bye.